And now we're going to Good afternoon. You are listening to The Social View. We're having a lot of fun in here. So we were talking about fitness, and now we're going to talk about school, high school, specifically a great school, Arizona Collegiate High School, that has given students on the verge of dropping out a second chance at achieving a higher education and hopes for a brighter, more successful future. Sounds like good stuff. I've got with me the principal, Mike Dunbar, and two of the students from Arizona Collegiate High School, Kevin and Brandon. Kevin is a senior this year, and Brandon, his brother, graduated last year. So, okay, Principal Dunbar.
Yes, good afternoon, by the way. Thank you for having us. Absolutely.
Thank you for coming. Tell me, what is it about this high school that is so different than other high schools?
At Arizona Collegiate High School, we consider ourselves the new school of learning. You know, we realize that students didn't grow up in the same environments with the same resources that maybe we did growing up. For instance, I always like to joke, when I grew up, we rolled down car windows with a physical, crank that we had to work, where nowadays students just use buttons.
Right.
We didn't have remote controls growing up, where students are growing with cell phones and the internet, and it's a very comfortable environment for them. So at our school, we try to use technology to our advantage to create an engaging environment that's motivating students, that actually makes them interested in learning the material, so that they can ultimately achieve success, which will lead towards graduation. And very early on, starting in 9th grade, we have students identify career goals and just start exploring different things that are out there. And once they grab onto something, as you were saying, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So if these students identify where they want to be, then we can start working backwards and looking at freshman year, you need to do this. Sophomore year, you need to do this. Junior year, you need to do this. Ultimately, senior year, when you graduate, you can do this. And therefore, we provide them with a real pathway to get to where they want to be. And of course, goals change along the way. You might find something else that you're more interested in, things like that. So having a small charter school, we have about 200 students in our school, gives us the ability to really create meaningful relationships with our students and really get to learn what they are interested in. And I joke about, I'm a ASU Sun Devil, but if one of my students wants to go to U of A and become a Wildcat, although personally I don't agree, it becomes my job to get them to that school. And so that's the mentality that we have going forward. It's not about the adults in the building, it's about the students in the building. So everything we do is based on what it will take to make them successful.
Now, this is a charter school?
Yes,
correct?
we are a charter high school. We serve grades 9 through 12, and we're located in the Maryvale community on 35th Avenue and Thomas.
Okay, so how does a charter school differ from a public school, or is it a public school? Let's define it for us.
I really appreciate that question, because this actually is one of my soapbox issues. Charter schools are public schools. They are funded from the same tax revenue that a district school would be. There are subtle differences, of course, and I will point out that on average we do get less funding for our students that attend, and the advantages that we have is that there's not the levels of bureaucracy that maybe some of the districts have. We're able to react much faster and make decisions based on data that will be beneficial to our students, and much faster than some other schools might be able to. So, for instance, if we realize that a program is not reaching its potential and the students aren't being as successful as we want them to be, we can change the course of that program much faster to be able to correct the students. And one of the other things is that a charter school does not have district boundaries, so we can pull students from all across the valley. And with some of the innovative things that we do to make our school accessible, we've gotten kids attending our school from Scottsdale. The students that are with us today attended our school from Peoria. We have students from the Goodyear area, the Surprise, we're trying to get out to the Surprise area, but we have students coming from all over.
Now, when they do come from all over, you don't have school buses that are pulling them there. So how do they get there?
Right. Well, looking back, basically we provide them with Valley Metro bus passes that allows them to use the buses to get to school, get home from school, but it also gives them that freedom to explore in their personal lives, because they can use those bus passes at night, they can use them on the weekends, they can use them for the train that goes throughout the valley. So we see that as a big plus when you come to our school. We really kind of tear some of those boundaries down that maybe marginalized or at-risk youth have run into all the time. You know, some of our students come from single-family households, single-parent households, and those parents are doing the very best they can, and sometimes that requires them to have 3 to 4 jobs. And those parents are at work sometimes when those students wake up, so they don't have a parent to be able to provide them with a ride to school. So just giving that bus pass is just another way that we make school accessible for our students.
Now, the thing that really attracted me to this school and I made me want to learn more is this notion of giving the kids a free laptop. So, and you're a public school, so a couple of thoughts. First off, how is it that a public school is able to give away laptops when other schools are struggling with dollars? And now hearing that you're even getting less dollars, I'm very curious about that. And how does it work that kids are getting free laptops?
As far as the funding is concerned, we have a fabulous parent company called Pima Prevention Partnership. They are a social service agency that has been around since 1991, serving families within communities all throughout Arizona. And they were doing family strengthening, and one of the things that it comes down to for success with any type of population that you work with is increased education. So schools just became a natural way for them to reach out. And so they support us quite a bit, and they helped us open. Last year was our first year being open, so they helped fill that gap for any time we were having any struggles. But I would also say, for being a small charter school, we don't have some of the expenses that maybe some of the large districts have. Like, let's take the buses, for example. I've spoken to some schools that are spending well over $100,000 just on salaries, bus maintenance, and gasoline, whereas we get to spend a fraction of that just providing our students with bus passes. So there's a lot of things in and out with our budgets that we do that allow us to really invest heavily in our students. So, a $500 laptop over the course of what a student, for the budget would generate is well worth it in our mind. And what it does is it helps, again, connect students who may not have been previously successful in school. It provides them with an incentive, and it provides them with something to strive for. And it really worked, I'm happy to say. So how is it that every student that comes there gets a laptop? How does that work? So school starts in August, and we look at the first 100 days of school. Our school attends 180 days out of the school year. So sometime in January, we hit our 100th day. Now, we expect our students to be at school and try their best. That's the only way you can be successful. So we set up a incentive program that if a student is there 95 out of the first 100 days, and they're passing their classes, which on a side note I would say is the same thing, because if you're there, we have the supports you're going to be passing, then the students earn themselves a laptop computer. And that's real world to us, as adults. If we do really good in our jobs, really well, then we get rewarded. And so we want to show students, teach them that lesson early on, that if you are responsible and take care of what you need to be doing, then you can earn extra rewards. And those laptops are not just for them to use; those are theirs. When they leave the school, they're theirs. It's their property. Yes. Right? Once I hand that computer to the student, which I have to say was the second happiest day of, graduation was the first happiest day, but handing out those computers and seeing the looks on those students' faces and the opportunities that we were giving those families who may not have had a computer before. So now, all the family members can use it. It was really exciting. Now, I know that beyond just the laptops, you've got a cyber cafe. That's really interesting. So tell me a little bit about the Cyber Cafe. What is that? So the Cyber Cafe is a place where students can go before school, during lunch, after school, to really just kind of hang out and be themselves. They don't have to worry about peer pressures or the pressures that come on the streets, the pressures of being at home. We really just want to create an environment where students feel safe, so that, again, all geared towards allowing them to connect with our school to make them comfortable there, because, again, a lot of our students have not experienced success in school before. So the Cyber Cafe gives them a quiet place that's just for them. We have 2 pool tables in there. We have a ping pong table in there. We have 40-inch flat screen television with HD channels for them to be able to watch various things. We have cafe-style tables where they can take their computers and they can, network with one another. We have free Wi-Fi for them to just kind of hang out. Just, regardless of your zip code, kids are kids, and they just need a safe environment to go hang out and explore that. So that's what we provide them.
So how late after school is the Cyber Cafe open?
As long as there's an adult in the building.
Okay.
We really don't kick students out at any certain time. As long as we are there, they're welcome to be there.
And
typically 5 or 6. Sorry.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about the teachers that are there, that they're willing to give their time to stay after. What about the size of the classes and the curriculum? Is that the same as what you might find at any other traditional public school?
Well, being a charter school does not give us any lacks in our academic requirements. Charter schools are required to follow the exact same graduation requirements, exact same credit requirements as any other school in the state would. So I kind of lost my track.
Were you easily distracted? We've got 2 TVs in here that are streaming news, and sometimes it distracts me. A little bit of my ADD kicks in.
So back to you asked about the curriculum.
Yes.
Yes, we use nationwide massive textbook publishing companies for our primary resources. We purchased online versions of those textbooks, and we have laptops in the classrooms as well that aren't the students' computers, but we have them available. And when a student walks into our classroom, one of the first things that they do is they go grab a laptop, and then they access their textbook online, which is a much more engaging environment than just a 2-dimensional book. So we do have the same resources, we just provide them in a more contemporary way that's engaging for our students.
And it seems like it's very green, because you're also not printing books and saving a tree. Awesome.
Exactly.
All right, well, when we get back from the break, we are going to hear from Kevin and Brandon and hear from the students' perspective what this high school is like, how it set them up for success. And from our student that just graduated, we're going to learn what his plans are after school. So stay tuned. We will be back in 2 minutes. You're listening to The Social View. I'm Christina Wagner, and this is NBC 1260.